When used properly, an aerial lift is not only helpful, it can also reduce some of the risks of working at heights. However, aerial lifts still come with hazards, just like any equipment. In fact, several workers are injured or killed on aerial lifts every year. What up, workforce? I'm Destry with JJ Safety, and today we're talking aerial lifts. Besides the obvious fall hazards, aerial lifts have other hazards to be aware of. Objects falling from lifts, tip-overs, structural failures, ejections from the lift platform, electric shock, entanglement hazards, contact with surrounding objects, and contact with objects overhead. Remember to operate the aerial lift according to the operations manual and always follow the manufacturer's instructions and safety guidelines. Only trained, authorized people can operate the lift. First and foremost, you want to do a pre-start inspection before using an aerial lift. This way, if something is wrong, you'll know ahead of time, avoiding any unforeseen hazards. Here's what you should check: fluid levels and scan any leaks, wheels and tires, steering and brakes, controls and gauges, horns, lights and backup alarms, battery, and lift components. Falls are the leading cause of death for construction workers, killing more than 200 U.S. workers each year. Here's what you can do to reduce the chance of falling from an aerial lift. Ensure that access gates or openings are closed. Stand firmly on the floor of the bucket or lift platform. Do not climb on or lean over guardrails or handrails. Do not use planks, ladders, or other devices as platforms. Use a body harness or restraining belt with a lanyard attached to the boom or bucket. And do not belt off to adjacent structures or poles while in the bucket. Always look for overhead power lines and electricity lines feeding adjacent buildings and structures. If you're working near power lines, ensure lines are de-energized and grounded, or implement other protective measures before work begins. Always treat overhead lines as energized, even if they are down or appear to be insulated. Maintain a minimum clearance of at least 10 feet away from the nearest overhead line. And keep all conductive objects that can be contacted at least 10 feet away from overhead lines. Here are some additional safety precautions you can take while operating an aerial lift. Only use lifts you are trained and authorized to use. Be aware of overhead clearance and overhead objects. Survey the area to identify and avoid uneven surfaces, floor drains, pipes, holes, and debris. Avoid positioning aerial lifts between overhead hazards. Do not use an aerial lift in any area with poor ventilation. If you're using outriggers, make sure they're on pads or a level solid surface. Follow the manufacturer's capacity limits and never overload an aerial lift. Never override any safety devices. Do not operate equipment while fatigued. Never sit or climb on the edge of the basket. And never use planks, ladders, scaffolding, or other devices. Aerial lifts are a great way to reduce risks if properly used and maintained. Remember to inspect your aerial lift before use, utilize all your fall protection devices, and watch for overhead power lines and obstructions. For more information on aerial lifts, refer to OSHA 29 CFR 1926.453. Always follow your company's policies and procedures. For more information, visit us online at jjsafetyllc.com or call us at 866-627-3850.